Event, Fauna said. We want to observe, Flora said, as part of our studies, Fauna said. Mom told Cousin Howie how safe it is to trick-or-treat in our building. We know all of the neighbors. Eudora said it might be educational for them to experience Halloween one time, Howie. Cousin Howie drummed his fingers on the table. His eyebrows crept together, and after a while he said, "All right, but just this one time. And no candy. Candy will rot your teeth." Sounds like Willy Wonka's dad, doesn't it? "You don't have to worry about the candy, Daddy," the Natural Beauties said together. I was beginning to see how this worked. Cousin Howie said no to everything. The Natural Beauties begged and pleaded. Eudora was usually on their side. She had to present the case very carefully to Howie, but in the end, the Natural Beauties almost always got their way. "What's Minnie going to be for Halloween?" Fudge asked. "He's going to be," Flora began. "A tiger," Fauna said, and Minnie growled. "Or maybe a," Flora began. "Lion," Fauna said, and Minnie growled louder. "I know," Flora said. "He wants to be a manatee?" Fauna suggested. Sure, she got it right this time. "No," Minnie shouted, surprising everyone. "Eggnuff." "Eggnuff?" Flora said. "What's an eggnuff?" "It's me," Fudge told them. "Minnie wants to be me for Halloween." "You?" the Natural Beauty said at the same time. "Yes," Fudge told them. "Yell Raff Rose wants to be Eggnuff Muriel." "Does anybody know what's going on here?" Howie asked. "I do," Eudora said, "and it makes perfect sense." So on Halloween night, the Natural Beauties brought Minnie up to our apartment. Fudge was already dressed as a miser in a white shirt, a pair of red suspenders, and his money tie from the Bureau of Printing and Engraving. He carried his pouch of shredded money in one hand, and in the other his trick-or-treat bag. Mom had another white shirt ready for Minnie, along with a second pair of red suspenders, and since there was only one money tie, Mom let Fudge decorate an old green tie of Dad's. He drew dollar signs with wings all over it. Mom plunked a men's hat on each of their heads and then snapped photos of the two of them, the miser and his devil. The doorbell rang. It was Melissa Beth Miller from downstairs. She was carrying her cat in a basket. Fuzzball was wearing a pointy hat. "He's my wizard," she said, "and I'm Hermione from—" "Don't say it out loud," Fudge shouted. "Don't worry," Melissa said. "I never say his name out loud." "Whose name?" Flora asked. "Never mind," I told them. This was all getting to be too much for me. "Okay, Pete, let's go," Fudge said. "Go?" I asked. "Yeah, you're taking me and Melissa." "Wait a minute, I thought you were going with Flora and Fauna." "No, they're taking Minnie." "We couldn't possibly be responsible for more than one child," Fauna said. "Besides, we'll be busy taking notes for a report on the cultural event," Flora told me. "Daddy says we each have to write 3 pages, Fauna said. "Single-spaced," Flora added, in case I still didn't get it. Okay, I said. "Let's just go and get this over with." We all took the elevator to the 16th floor and started working our way down. So they went all the way to the top to work their way down. At every apartment, the Natural Beauties sang a few lines from their collection of New York songs. East Side, West Side, 42nd Street, Give My Regards to Broadway, and Manhattan. The neighbors loved it. They tried to shower the Natural Beauties with candy, but they politely refused. On the 6th floor, we met up with Olivia Osterman, who was just coming out of her apartment. She was wearing a long red cape. "I'm going to a party," she said, holding a feathered bird mask in front of her face. "You look like Uncle Feather, except you're the wrong color," Fudge told her. "I'm a nightingale, not a myna," Mrs. Osterman said as she pushed the button for the elevator. The Goldens, who also live on 6, opened their door. Mr. and Mrs. Golden and their daughter, Gina, were all wearing fright wigs. "Happy Halloween!" they sang together. They had vampire teeth in their mouths. Minnie growled at them, but before the Natural Beauties could get out 2 notes, the Golden's poodle started barking at Fuzzball. Fuzzball leaped out of the basket and ran for his life straight into the Golden's apartment. "Fuzzball, come back here!" Melissa called, chasing after him. Mrs. Golden ran after Melissa, and Gina ran after Mrs. Golden, and Mr. Golden just stood there in his fright wig and vampire teeth, holding the bowl of candy bars. "How many?" Fudge asked. "How many what?" Mr. Golden said. "Candies," Fudge said. "How many can I take?" "How about 1?" Mr. Golden said. "How about 2?" Fudge asked. "Okay," Mr. Golden said, 2. "Minnie doesn't have a bag," Fudge told Mr. Golden, "so I'll take 2 for him." Mr. Golden said, 4 candy bars is a lot of candy. Not really, Fudge argued, because you said I could take 2 besides Peter and Flora and Fauna aren't taking any, so really, it's a bargain. He reached in the bowl again, but I better take 2 for Melissa in case she forgets. What are you, an entrepreneur? Mr. Golden asked. No, I'm a miser. He pointed to Minnie, and he's my double. I don't know where Charlotte's going. Enough, Minnie said. Mr. Golden shook his head. Melissa couldn't find Fuzzball anywhere in the apartment. Mrs. Golden asked me and the Natural Beauties to help look for him. I don't know how long it took to find Fuzzball, but I know it was too long. Way too long. Because by the time we found him on the top of a stack of towels in the bathroom closet, Fudge and Minnie were nowhere in sight. Did you see them leave? I asked Mr. Golden, who was offering the bowl of candy to another group of kids. Who? Mr. Golden asked. The misers, I told him, and when he looked blank, like he didn't know who I was talking about, I added the little kids in red suspenders. Oh, they left a long time ago. This is bad news, Flora cried. We're going to be in so much trouble, Fauna said. What do we do? They asked together. First, we'll take Melissa home, I said, taking charge. But I'm not done trick-or-treating, Melissa said. Maybe you're not, but your cat is. Charlotte, stop there. Flora, I told her. He's not my cat. He's my wizard. Either way, it's time for him to go home. Hold on one second. She's staying there. I pressed the button for the elevator. Then we waited and waited and waited. And finally I said, come on, we'll take the stairs. I led them down the back stairway. We met another group of trick-or-treaters along the way. One of the fathers said, whew, these stairs are tough going. Another one muttered something about the new elevator. Yeah, I know, I told him. We waited on 6, but it never came. Probably all those trick-or-treaters, he said. In the lobby, a group of neighbors had gathered around the video monitor. Henry, I said, you haven't by chance seen... He pointed to the monitor. Look at the screen. But it was so dark, you had to look really carefully to see anything. You could just make out somebody sitting on the bench waving a pencil flashlight. Wait a minute. Was that a bird mask? The light moved and landed on Minnie's face. What's going on? I asked Henry. They're stuck between floors, Henry said. Oh no, the Natural Beauties cried. The light moved again and caught the control panel. You could see a small hand and then part of a face. It was Fudge. Can't you do something? I asked. Shh, Henry said. He's trying to use the intercom. This is Egnoff Muriel, Yelraff Rose, and Avalio Varushka, Fudge said in a small voice. Avalio, I thought. Then I realized Avalio, spelled backwards, was Olivia, so it was Olivia Osterman. This elevator won't go anywhere, he said. It won't go up and it won't go down. And besides that, it's dark in here and hot. A buzz went through the crowd around the monitor. Quiet, please, Henry called. Then he pressed his talk button. Are you all right, Miss O? Can you breathe? She looks like a bird breather with her mask, Fudge said. Can you get us out of here? Mrs. Osterman asked very politely. Halloween comes but just once a year, you know, and who knows where I'll be next year from now. Help is on the way, Henry said. Will it be the fire department, Mrs. Osterman asked. I've always wanted to be rescued by one of those handsome young men. They should be here any minute, Henry said, along with the elevator maintenance crew. Don't worry, Fudge said. We're not hungry. We still have 47 candy bars to go. Yum, Minnie said, and we could see him eating one. The Natural Beauties asked Henry if they could talk to Minnie. Henry pressed his talk button. Minnie, it's Flora and Fauna. We love you. Don't be scared. He's not scared, Fudge said. Nobody's scared. We're going to sing to you now, Mrs. Osterman announced. You can listen to our special song. The 3 of them began to sing to the tune of Frere Jacques. Egnoff Muriel, Yelraff Rose, Avalio Varushka, touch your nose or your toes. Word about the elevator spread through the building. Mom and Dad heard it from one trick-or-treater who came to their door. They ran down all 12 flights of stairs. Howie and Eudora heard it at the same time, and Cousin Howie pushed through the crowd, which had now grown. I'll take charge now, Henry. I'm a park ranger. I know what to do in cases of emergencies. Oh, hold on. Charlotte, come on. Come on. Sorry about that. Sorry, Cousin H, Henry said, but in this case, I'm in charge, and I've turned the operation over to the fire department and the emergency elevator maintenance team. They're on the scene now. How long have they been trapped in the elevator, Dad asked. Close to 40 minutes, Henry said. Oh, Eudora moaned. Water! Mom called. Somebody bring her a glass of water, and she helped Eudora to a chair. I want to talk to my son, Dad said. Sure thing, Mr. H. Henry put Dad on the intercom. Fudge, this is Dad. Talk to me, please. Hi, Dad, Fudge said. Avalio taught us this game. Avalio, Dad said. That's Olivia spelled backwards, I whispered. See, first you think up of an animal, Fudge said, describing the game to Dad, and then you try to make the others guess which animal it is. I did panda, and Minnie guessed it. Sounds like a good game, Dad said. How is Minnie? He's resting now. Fudge shined Mrs. Osterman's flashlight on Minnie. He was stretched out across the bench, his head in Mrs. Osterman's lap. She was fanning him with her bird mask. Fudge, let me talk to Mrs. Osterman, Dad called. Hello, dearie, she said. Don't worry. We're all right. Just a bit anxious. We'd like to be out of here. Dad, Fudge said, guess how many candy bars Minnie ate. Candy? Cousin Howie said. 7 so far. 7. But now he has a tummy ache. That's why he's resting. Oh, why can't you sit still today? Come on. Sit still, sit still, sit still. Come on. Come on, sit still, please. Charlotte. Charlotte, sit still. Cousin Howie grabbed the intercom. Farley, no more candy. Got it? But before Minnie could answer, the lights in the elevator came on and we could hear the whirl of a fan. Oh my, Mrs. Osterman said, that feels good. Then a guy in a uniform dropped into the elevator from a hatch in the ceiling. We heard a noise, and a minute later Fudge said, we're moving! Just in time, dearie, Mrs. Osterman said. Just in time. When the elevator door opened, a handsome fireman escorted Mrs. Osterman out, with Fudge and Minnie following right behind. Make room for Mrs. O, Henry called, and the crowd parted. Well, she said, I see I didn't miss the party after all. The party seems to be right here in the lobby. And as soon as she said it, you knew it was going to happen. Within minutes, the neighbors were carrying food and drinks to the lobby, the trick-or-treaters followed, and Mr. O'Reilly even brought down his keyboard. The natural beauties ran upstairs and returned with their tap shoes. Mr. Willard proposed a toast. To our heroes, Olivia, Fudge, and Minnie. You mean Avaleo, Egnuff, and Yelrath, Fudge asked. Yes, Mr. Willard said, that's exactly who I mean. Mr. Reese said, here's to their resourcefulness. Mr. Perez says, and to their sense of humor. 3 cheers for Egnuff, Yelrath, and Avaleo. While we were cheering, the lobby door opened. The Tubmans came in from outside. They were going dressed as the 3 bears. What's going on? Sheila asked. Did I miss something? Candy, Minnie said. Yum. And that's the end of chapter 15. Meh. Our last chapter, Charlotte, is chapter 16. And it is called You Never Know. And I will see you tomorrow for You Never Know. Bye.